intuition or limitation? Should you listen to the voice in your head? That's what this video is about today. I'm going to take you on a little journey here for a minute, because as the world is changing, more and more people are looking into growing their intuition, listening to that. You might I've heard this phrase, that internal voice. What's your gut instinct? And because the way society works, we are entrained out of following our own intuition. We are essentially trained not to follow what we know from day one. When you were a kid, were you allowed to go to sleep whenever you knew your body was tired? No. Were you allowed to eat whatever you got that your body would like to eat? Or were there always limitations? So we have this upbringing, right? Through our parents, through the school system, through social acceptance. We are trained to follow certain rules, certain guidelines. We are trained to follow others, respect your elders, listen to your teachers, follow. And then we wonder why we have such a hard time actually connecting with our own intuition to actually truly know what we know. And when we know what we know, to acknowledge it, to not go into doubt about it. So you might be on this new journey, or maybe you've been doing it for a while and you're exploring your intuition. You're really trying to follow your knowing and what's true for you. However, I want to talk about something like little sidestep here, because what if it's not always your intuition talking to you? So here are 3 things I invite you to look at while you're engaging with this intuition piece, to get really clear on what is intuition, what is it that you know, and what are the outside external forces that are actually guiding you away from what might create something greater for you. And I'm just calling those the limitations. Okay, so one way of determining whether it's an intuition or a limitation is, does it make you feel lighter? So if you have a sense of going to do something, right? Now, this is where we talk about kind of that gut feeling. You might have the sense of contraction, the whole world is going to crash in on you. You might just have this solid thunk in your world. Then that is probably an indication that your intuition is saying, there's a lie here. There's something we need to look at. Something is not true here for us. Okay. So when you think about doing it, does it expand your world? Does it get lighter? Does it contract? This is one of those intuition tools. And when you start to acknowledge, oh, that was heavy, right? Contracted. It was so heavy. And often we choose it anyways. And it turns out to be a heavy experience. This is you building that trust with your intuition. Okay. So when I choose something heavy, it creates more heaviness. When I choose something light, it seems to create lightness. Okay. So here's the heaviness and the limitation. Now here's the limitation piece. Just because something's heavy doesn't mean you stop asking questions. I mean, you can, but you might want to ask, okay, is there something, this is the limitation piece. So is it just heavy because I choose this, I go to this event, I go on a date with this guy? Is it because the experience is going to be heavy? Or is the heaviness an indication of an awareness or a limitation or a lie? So you have to actually ask more questions when you get that sense of heaviness. I've had things where I've been it's so weird. I was so excited to go for lunch with my girlfriend. And that day it was just so heavy. And I'm why is that? Do I not want to go? Is it not going to be a good time for me? I'm thinking here, right? And then they reach out to me maybe an hour before, and I'm kind of dreading getting ready. And I'm I don't know. This is so heavy. and they say, hey, actually have to cancel. Oh, so the heaviness was not that going there was going to be heavy. It was that it was the lie that I was even going there, because we had to cancel. This is how fun it is to actually play with your knowing and playing with your intuition. It's like this beautiful discovery process. Okay, so this is the first step of like really playing with, is it your intuition? Is it a limitation? What's actually going on here? So the next thing I want you to look at is when you're getting these, you could call them hits, when you're getting these awarenesses, these intuitive pings, does it come in the form of a thought? So sometimes when I have an awareness, it's just like spring, like an awareness just shows up. I'm also very aware, but I've been practicing at this when it's a thought rather than just an awareness. And here's we're just going to go one step further. Does the thought come in a you statement? Okay. So let's say you're online shopping, it's late at night, and you're like, I just feel like doing some online shopping. I'm going to do some online shopping. You're online shopping and you get a you statement. You shouldn't be doing this. You should go to bed, or you shouldn't buy anything right now, or you always do this. What's wrong with you? Okay. So when awarenesses or thoughts come up with a you statement, it's not you. Because would you refer to yourself as you? Or would you refer to yourself as I? Now catch this. Actually be really aware of how many thoughts or how many of these things come up as a you or an I. I really need to go to sleep right now. And it's like, okay, that's an awareness. Or I am having so much fun online shopping right now. That could be an awareness. You statements are external factors. Now, I can't really go too deep into what those external factors could be, but they're things that you're picking up on that are not you. So that's not your intuition. It's not your knowing. It is something talking to you. Therefore, it doesn't mean you have to completely ignore it. It might actually have some awareness that you can have. But what if you don't live your life by all the you statements? What if you weren't living your life and making your choices by other limitations, other points of view, other expectations, and projections of you? So it's number 2, as we're playing with this and we're honing in on our intuition skills. If it's coming in a you statement, identify that it's not actually you. It is something else. Now, here's the third one, which kind of plays in a lot with the first one. Will this expand my life? So sometimes there are going to be these, we think of them as gut feelings. We think of them as awareness. It can be, especially those really intense ones. Okay. So how can you determine if all this intensity showing up is a sign that you shouldn't be doing it? Is your intuition saying this isn't safe? You're not safe here. You turn around, don't go, don't do it. Okay. Or is it actually a limitation that you have put into place, and the limitation is at risk? The limitation is at fear. And when you choose it, it will expand your life beyond that limitation. This is a really powerful tool, guys. I can even think of an example of, I was going for a photo shoot. Okay. It was a new photographer. And at this point I had maybe experienced 5 or 6 different photographers, and every single one of them in their own weird way twisted stuff into my world about my body, about my capacity to pose in pictures, about like all this stuff, like constant. So it was every time I went to get my photo taken, it kind of reaffirmed like, this is an awful experience. I hate this. People are so cruel. They're so judgmental. Maybe my body is ugly. Maybe I should never get my photo taken, like all this stuff. Right. And so I was going to meet I'd had that lightness, so that my intuition, my knowing was like, this person. Like, okay, I talked to him. connect with him. Okay, great. We're going to go do this thing. And as I'm driving there, I'm like, I'm sweating. I'm having all these physical responses. I feel like almost nauseous, like I'm gonna puke. And it's so intense. Now, a lot of people would say that was my body saying I shouldn't go. Well, that's a conclusion. That's a presumptive reality, if you will. That there's no question in that. You have physical responses and you've decided that must mean this. Well, that's not you accessing your knowing and actually exploring your consciousness. So I had all these physical responses, but I knew enough at the time, because I had been exploring my knowing for so long, that there's something going on here, and it's not. So I asked, is this, I asked first, body, are you telling me not to go? And it was no. I'm like, okay, then what is this? What do I do with this? Can I change this? If so, how do I change this? What's going on? And so I just kept asking questions as I was driving, trying not to pass out or fall off the road or spew everywhere. And I finally got to the place of, oh, this photographer, this amazing, incredible person is actually going to put a huge crack in this lie that I have about me with photos. And then all the physical sensations disappeared. And then I had one of the most incredible photo sessions of my life so far. And he was truly such a kind and vibrant and acknowledging and creative and fun person to work with. Now, if I decided that was my intuition, that was my gut saying, don't go, they would have missed that. So I hope these 3 tools contribute to you as you explore your intuition, as you hone in on what you know rather than all these external things and limitations. If this video was a contribution to you, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and if you'd be willing to share this with a friend, maybe you have a friend that has been exploring intuition or is interested in any of this, please do. It really supports me making these videos. Thank you so much. Mwah! Have a wonderful day. See you in the next video.